page 30 in finance. Councillor Hunter.
I'd like to make a motion that council approve the 50th Ave project at the cost of $743,951 to be included in the interim 2015 capital budget.
Discussion. Councillor Grande.
I just have a question. What does it mean when it says it will require a request for proposal without any engineer supervision and cost? What does that mean?
That's very important, and what it means is that the reason why we pay that amount is that we're not paying for the engineers. That's why it's at 740 something thousand. As soon as you factor in the engineers' cost, you're about 1.2 million. Okay. The downside to not having the engineers is then the question is, would you prefer to have an engineer do your work, or would you prefer not to have an engineer supervise the work? And for that, I don't have a clear answer. And if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I can turn to my roads manager to give us some ideas. But the parameters is there's a cost element and there's a risk element.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I discussed this with Vern, and he said because of the scope of the work for this project, that it was no infrastructure or whatever, and there was no levels to be run or whatever. We felt that we could oversee the project and thus save the town the engineering costs on it. It is very basic on what had to be done with the overlay on, and this was Railway Avenue, which is the one from Richards Lumber carrying on out towards Highway to 53rd Avenue.
Councillor Hunter.
Just another question for administration, and thank you, Brian, for that. Actually, it's directed to Mr. Tamaklo. Is there any other communication, or have we contacted Minister Drysdale in regards to the Railway Ave and getting some funding?
We received 2 or 3 letters that, and I think the last one that we received was from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, that their staff was going to contact us, and then we'll have to contact their transportation. But so far, where it's going, there is no positive response. We've had about 2 or 3 letters to that effect.
Since we're not getting any response from the province, and if we're going to put any money into this, as far as I'm concerned, we should close that avenue to heavy-duty truck traffic and let them start using Highway 2. That'll get their attention.
We stated that as a possible course of action at the AUMA, and I think they didn't take us seriously. I'm totally in favor of that. It will cause some traffic chaos on the highway.
It's not our problem. I think we should be setting a date as to when we're closing it. January 1st. It's a good time.
Councillor Hunter.
I would think during the winter, hopefully the road keeps up because it's nice and frost underneath. We give them notice that as of March 15th,
when the road bands go on, that'd be a good
perfect.
suggestion.
That's what I was thinking. When the road bands go on, that's when we'd be closing that road to any vehicle over 1 ton.
And the MD has said at a meeting that that road probably would hold up with vehicular traffic for another 2 or 3 years if we would get the trucks right off of it immediately. And I believe, what does the road say about that?
It still needs some minor repairs in areas yet, but we have the capability of doing that too, so it's public works, so. But it'd be like Band-Aid repairs, so it would be, so.
Certainly wouldn't be this amount though.
No, never.
Would it be in our interest to contact our MLA and let her know that this is going to be our intention?
I think we send a letter to the MLA and to Minister Drysdale and everybody involved. Let them know.
All at the same time. Let them have it.
They got 5 months to fix it. Step forward and give us some money.
Yep. discussion? It's hard, Mo, but it's fair. It's not, we're not being unreasonable.
The implication, just, if I may, is, I mean, the implications is that it might not get done next year, but it doesn't have to get done next year, especially if it's only light vehicle traffic on it. We get a chance to see if we can it buys us some time to hopefully get some money out of them, so for a period of a year, or maybe in 5 months we get the money. But it probably wouldn't get done next year, so that's the only repercussion, but we got a chance of getting some money from the government for that work. So I think it's worth the opportunity to try that, and we did say we would do it.
It might be to our benefit as well if we send the letters to those businesses that will be implicated and inconvenienced rather as a result of this, and they'll be calling the government to say what's going on here. Can't hurt my help. Councilor Tamaklo.
So when I am fully supporting closing that down once the road bans are on. I just wanna understand, so they would be turning again at the lights at max and
Or out of town.
Or taking a route around on the North Road and then back straight through it. The big detour, 3 miles, 4 miles.
They do have another alternate route by turning at Grimshaw Trucking, going all the way out past Keys, back in, go straight across the intersection, and same as if they're going back from south to north, they gotta go back the same route, which is a very inconvenience to the trucking industry.
I'm just thinking too, if there's a truck that does turn and then we have the bottleneck and the backlog, people will start complaining, maybe get their attention.
Alberta
They-
Transportation.
Yep.
Councilor Rose.
At our intermunicipal meeting, this was discussed, and the MD was under the impression that, I mean, although they agree that it needs to be done and they're, trying to support it as well financially, that they thought that it would probably be okay for a couple of years, but that was with truck traffic in our discussion. Do you not feel the same way? Like it's okay for a couple of years with heavy truck traffic, like it's not?
It is getting pounded out though, like we're gonna have to do some repairs, patching.
Cause I think they were concerned when we talked about a road ban, they didn't really like the idea of us, so you guys know, but they won't be in favor of that.
Take May 2/3.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think we're on record having declared that we'll be paying 1/3, the MD will be paying 1/3. And so we almost have, if it was a $1 million job or $1.2 million job, we'll almost be around $600,000. We have to take into consideration the fact that the MD has just come out with the mutually beneficial projects, of which 50th Avenue is part of it. And so if we're going to do the project at $743,000, we're almost close to what we wanted to be at. Without the MD's contribution, I think it would be worthwhile to go ahead and do the road plan. But you're getting some money from the MD, which initially they said they were going to give 1/3. Now they're giving $1 million. So the two projects that we had in mind, and I'm providing this, not trying to make decisions for you, the two projects that we had in mind that would be useful to complete would be 50th Avenue and the 51st Avenue. So if you had the same person come in, I don't know who's going to get the tender, but if you had the same contractor, you have some economies of scale. Remembering that there's $250,000 on the $743,000, which is contingency. So it may not be spent, it may be spent. So there are economies of scale here that I think council should consider, particularly in the light of the fact that the MD is providing some amount And it will be a good time to test the MD in terms of what mutually beneficial also means in terms of projects, by passing on these two projects to them to see what their thought process will be. And as soon as they approve this becomes the banner by which you can measure other future road projects and be sure that the MD is serious about the definition of mutually beneficial. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other.
And just one more thing on that regarding that intermunicipal meeting that we were at. Did they not provide us with another quote that was around $500,000 on the second project?
Yes, that's what we're using, and
Oh,
then
that is
plus
more so.
250 of contingency.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that we're using the MD's quote.
Okay, I was confused about the amount, okay.
Yes, the MD's quote. That's what we're using. That's
I'm just looking here at the capital budgets, and under this, we've got $743,000
Yes.
all under grants.
yes.
Now, where is all of that money coming? Is
The-
that all MD money?
Yes, it's the first two are MD money, and then the 700,000 is made up of
The 400 and the 300.
300.
Yeah, okay, so this was all
The-
MD money.
Yes.
I'm on 35, if you're wondering where I was looking at. Okay.
One more time.
If this is, I'm trying to think of the MD's agreement. They're just saying $1 million, we don't have to match it. Okay, forget it. I answered my own question. I was wondering if it had to be a matched, or the $1 million comes in, we can use all of their money on that road and don't have to put any money towards it. So, okay.
Mayor Cox.
And I'm looking at these 5 projects and I'm thinking to myself, if the province comes up with the money for 50th Avenue, fine, we can change it then. I don't believe we should allocate anything to 50th Avenue, because that just shows that we are not firm in what we're wanting to do. We want to move ahead with the province. Either you come to the table or you're not going to come to the table. So if you start saying, well, okay, and now we're going to award the contract, or we're going to go for a tender, we're going to do something, to me that doesn't make any sense. You're just spinning your wheels. And the other thing is, if we can do this 50th Avenue, a small upgrade or patching or whatever, and then it is just our own local traffic, we can move that $1 million to some of these other projects. And we gain twice as much. We have 50th Avenue that is going to hold up for another 2, 3, 4 years, and perhaps then the province will come back with half. Who knows what they're gonna come back with, but if we don't force them to the table, they're not gonna come back with anything. So I don't think we should be just scratching 50th Avenue as one of the capital budget projects.
Excuse me, when we were in discussions with Minister Drysdale at the AUMA, we had discussed the fact that it was at Transportation's behest or suggestion or whatever to stop the turning, so get them to use that. So I agree with Mayor Cox. If we don't force their hand, they're just gonna, you asked us to do this, we did it, now the road isn't holding up, so help us please. But they're not coming to the table, so let's force their hand and see what we get.
Absolutely.
Is there other, I don't have the capital plan here, but is there other capital projects that we could be using money for, that we could bring forward for 2015? Is there other ones that are gonna likely be mutually beneficial? Other than the ones that, cause I know they're not gonna feel the power supply is mutually beneficial, or the sidewalk is
That's
likely
to the
not
hospital.
mutually.
Isn't that one to the hospital?
Yeah, so they might go with that. I'm just curious if there's other ones in that we haven't, I'm sure there is, because there's lots on that list.
All of those, every road.
Kelly, is there, maybe I can ask that,
Oh,
Kelly?
you know, that's fair. I mean, I think Mayor Cox I think we have the same thoughts that the sidewalk to U of A Hospital could be something that we would try. We could also go back to the 10-year capital plan and look for other roads and, yeah, so, yeah, you're right.
Mayor Cox.
And I have one more thing. Right now, 2014, if we make this decision and we plan to go ahead with the road bans in March, they are developing now their budget for 2015. Get the notification in, and Peace River will ship it up the line, and you might be surprised, we might get money in 2015 for it. It could become a priority for them.
We've just about beat this one, yes?
You make it sound like I just. My comment is we have an intermunicipal meeting coming right up next week, so we can bring this item up at the meeting, see what some of their thoughts are, and it might be good if Kelly, we had a plan B if we didn't go ahead with 50th Avenue. What would be the other options, and we can run it by them to get a feel next week so that we know what they would fund.
Are you suggesting then that we do something other than reject this?
I'm saying that I like the idea of seeing if we can get money from the government to help on 50th Avenue. So I would put this on hold and try to find $1 million worth of projects that the MD will agree with, and then go after those projects. And then if we get the money from the government as quick as we might, then we might shift our priorities, because I know 50th Avenue is probably our worst street in town that needs the upgrading. And we can make that shift quite soon.
Yeah. Last one, Councillor Amateur, goes to you.
Just as a reminder, the motion is only to move this to budget deliberations. That's all it's doing.
Yes. Yep. Yes, Mr. Tamaklo, you're the last one.
Yeah, the motion is to whether, not to contradict Councillor Enter, the motion is whether we should include it in the interim budget. So,
Thank you for clarification.
yes, so if we're getting a sense that that's not what you want to do, then we will park it, because December 10th, we will be bringing to you the operating budget and the capital budget for your approval before. So, take that out.
Just, if I can, to close it up, we all know how slow things move here at times. We know how slow they can move provincially. So if we act now on saying no to this and send the letters off to the province and to the partners that will be affected, the sooner the better. So, that's my 2 cents.
I know you're done with it, and you already said.
Okay, only because you haven't said anything on this one? Go.
But if you're gonna say partners in this, do we not want to wait at least until we talk to the MD at the intermunicipal, because we're asking them for minimum of 30%. The businesses that are gonna be affected the most are businesses that are in the MD. So maybe we should see their thoughts on a road ban, because I think that that's a pretty serious step.
It is.
And like I say, we're asking them for money. We're getting money from them. And it'll be a lot of their users and their businesses that are affected, so maybe they should at least know, because I know we did bring this up at an intermunicipal, and they weren't in favor at all of.
I
So-
actually thought they were in favor. They said it was our road, we could do what we wanted with it.
That being said, we have a motion the council approve the 50th Avenue project at the cost of $743.95 to be included into the interim 2015 capital budget. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Beauty. Carried. Yes, Mayor Cox.
I move that we, inform the province that we will be placing, that we will be, notify the province that as of the road ban date, heavy duty trucks, or what is the word, industrial truck traffic will no longer be allowed on 50th Avenue. With a CC to our Minister of well, that'll be the Minister of Transportation, that's who the letter will go to. CC to our MLA, Earl Callahason. CC to the Reed of the MD.
Do we want to include any of the industry?
I think we should advertise at that point, but let's wait and get a response back from, let's see how this goes.
Can you read that back to us, please, Ms. Suckledge?
But it sounds better. Council directs administration to draw up a letter.
Moved by Mayor Cox that council direct administration to create a letter for the mayor or deputy mayor's signature informing the province that as of March 31st, 2015, the town of Prairie will no longer be allowing heavy-duty trucks to travel on 50th Ave, and CC the MLA, the MD of Big Lakes, and Alberta Transportation.
You might want to put a road ban will take into effect in the spring of 2015. That way, if it's warm come March 1st, or stays frozen till April 30th. Is that acceptable?
Moved by Mayor Cox that council direct administration to create a letter for the mayor or deputy mayor's signature informing the province that as of spring 2015, a road ban will take place that will no longer allow heavy-duty trucks to travel on 50th Ave, and CC the MLA, the MD of Big Lakes, and Alberta Transportation. Am I missing a CC?
The Reed?
That's the MD.
Reed, MLA, and the Minister of Transportation. Yeah, you're good.
When we say road ban,
That means there's a maximum load limit.
but the road ban will not be removed.
Well, it'll come into place, but we may or may not remove it.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's up to us.
So actually, when they write these letters, all they do is they just say, I'll make this motion, and that's all they get. They don't get anything other than, there's no other explanation. There's nothing that says because of the heavy truck traffic, it's deteriorating our roads. There's no explanation. It's all just gonna be, here's the motion, thank you very much, goodbye. And I think it's pretty,
So what we wanna do is, what you can request is that the background information be included in the letter.
And the future repercussions of the truck traffic's gonna have to be rerouted. I think that's critical to include in the letter, absolutely.
well, yeah, that's why I get kind of, these letters are just going out, and they're, they're pretty,
Well,
Vague.
Again, if we direct administration to include the background information, the repercussions of that included with the motion, the history from the AUMA and the Minister Drysdale's meeting with us, and with our MLA.
so a background sheet.
Yeah, the reason why we try to stick with the motion is that your resolution is very concrete. You know what you said. Instead of administration trying to put words into your mouth, somebody can come back and say, I never said this, I never said that. But if it's in the real world, right? So when you read it and you think there's something that you want, because you're representing the council at this time. If the thoughts that you have, you can include it, we'll include the letter as well. We'll expand it as best as we can, but we have to be sure that we are not putting words into your mouth so that your resolution is what's paramount. So the resolution should be very clear. Exactly what your intent is should be stated in the resolution. If we have to add anything to it, it's something that we cannot fight about the ambiguity of it and say, no, we didn't say that. This is what we meant. And we
Well, I think what the letter needs, it needs a background sheet attached to it. Not in the letter, but a background. Here's the issue. This is what the history is. This is what.
The 1/3 goes back letter to cost sharing that we discussed.
And then include the previous communications.
Yes.
And we had that at the AUMA, so it's easy to add on. With the addition of the AUMA discussion, that this is what we said, and now we have to do this to preserve the road.
So the motion should include with the background sheet.
No future repercussion?
I think that needs, because then they might think it's just closed during breakup and then it's gonna reopen if we don't say that this is closed for good, so.
Road ban will take into effect until the province steps forward to assist with the reconstruction of the 50,000.
As discussed at the AUMA.
It will be closed and remain closed to preserve the road, something along those lines, yeah. It's tough to wordsmith when we're sitting in here and you can't write it down and stuff, but,
Okay. As long as I get a background sheet, I can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Could you read the question back one more time, please?
Moved by Mayor Cox that council direct administration to create a letter with background information and future repercussions for the mayor or deputy mayor's signature, informing the province that as of the spring of 2015, a road ban will take place that will no longer be allowing heavy-duty trucks to travel on 50th Ave, and CC MLA Pearl Callahayson, MD of Big Lakes, and Alberta Transportation.
I just have a question. When we were at the AUMA, when we met with Minister Diana McQueen, she was also looking at
Sure.
the that road, so should she be
Municipal affairs,
CC'd
yeah.
as well?
It's at municipal affairs.
It wouldn't hurt.
We're good. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I don't think though that you ended up with the wording that says that it's not going to be opened in the motion.
The road bans, as Councillor Hunter, when I asked him about road bans, he said no road bans can be
Until
year-round.
we decide to take it off.
Right, I'm just saying that in
And-
the motion it's gonna say road ban, which you guys are telling me may be understood by the reading party as it's only gonna be road ban for the spring.
Yeah. They may interpret it that way, they can interpret it as one day. Right? They can interpret it as forever. A road ban,
We
It's
were
just
so
if you
concise
wanted-
on the letter, we should be concise all the way through, I think.
Well, we're gonna have it with the background information.
But
But it's going to be closed and remain closed.
province assists with the reconstruction.
Yeah, I know you guys said that, but I don't think that was back in the motion. That's all
I'm sure it'll
saying.
make it into the background portion.
There we go, we're good.
Okay, moving on. 5A5, 51st Avenue, page 36.
Okay, I'll do it. Make a motion that council approve the 51st, 53rd Ave, 56th Ave at the cost of $242,884 to be included in the interim 2015 capital budget.
Discussion. This is one of those issues as well where you feel that you can do it without engineering.
This is the same project basically as the Railway Avenue one, so.
Call the question.
Where is this at?
Behind Prairie River.
This is from Prairie River School up to KFC.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Any questions, any discussions? See, Mayor Cox.
Are we doing any sidewalks there?
No.
Do they need sidewalk replacement on some of those?
The sidewalks are generally pretty good along there.
Or we're doing a curb and a gutter?
No curb and gutter, overlay,
Pardon?
just overlay. Milling,
Curb and gutter to be added in front of KFC, Honda and IGA.
that's a concrete swale that goes across the property line, between the property line and the, where the curb is. It's just to carry the water, it's just a flat,
So it's the,
Soft curb.
a gentle swale is what it is, just to carry the water.
okay, so when you say concrete curb and gutter, you're not, that's what I'm reading. Am I on the right page, 37?
Yes, it does say curb and gutter. Right at the bottom, number 8.
It's only 65 meters long. It's basically for their access.
So where is the swale? Nowhere. It's just part of,
It's just, it's a swale, but it's a concrete gutter.
okay.
There'd be no lips to it or whatever, or, like it wouldn't be a square facing curb. It would be just beveled in the middle so the water will run down the curb yet and pick up where it hits the curb.
That one doesn't flood out the properties. Even if there's parking lots. Any further questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Moving right along. And we are at 6 now, 5A6, interim financial other projects, capital budget, on page 43 of your package.
Can we do that all in one motion, or are they each one separate?
1.2 million.
Okay, I'll make the motion, it's a lot of reading though.
You know, so
Nobody
that's it
wanted
for
to
me.
do it, yeah, you want that.
I've only done 15 of them.
That council approved the following projects and their cost estimates to be included in the 2015 interim capital budget. Number 1, 51st Street, 48th to 49th Street as part of the downtown revitalization and the business plan for $300,000. Backup power supply, or number 2, backup power supply for lift station number 7, hospital area, because of potential high flow from the hospital to prevent sewer backup at $325,000. Number 3, a sidewalk from Green Acres to UFA to 40th Street for pedestrian safety at a cost of $515,000. And number 4, Moosetoos renovations for $50,000.
Except at 51st Ave.
What did I say?
Street.
Street, 51st Ave, sorry. I'd like to say as written, you know. Yeah.
Mayor Cox.
So when we say you're putting this to the interim 2015 budget, are we getting another kick at this, or
Yes.
is, because alright, and before we even put it there, I don't agree with the sidewalk from Green Acres to UFA to 40th Street. I don't mind to 40th Street is to the hospital, but from Green Acres to UFA, I'd like to see the cost of that broken down between Green Acres to UFA and then 40th Street to the hospital.
driving that every morning and going back every day at lunchtime, the amount of people that use the road as a pedestrian is significant. And going around the corner sometimes when it's icy and the snow's out, especially just snowfall when the road hadn't been plowed yet, you felt concerned that so it should, I think, but again, it's up for deliberations. Thank you. Council first, then.
So on the proposal here, it says from the UFA to 40th, but are we going from 40th out to the hospital, or is the MD doing that until we take it? Because the 40th is actually the Monaghan, right? And the hospital's further.
Oh.
So who's doing that sidewalk?
Is it part of the road that's been built?
Is it? I don't know.
I believe it is.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Okay, so we're just going from the 40th back. I can't agree or attest to what our chair has stated about pedestrians walking when I walk to work and back and forth and with that slush and stuff. However, any infrastructure we put in is going to add an extra cost every year for upkeep, maintenance, and then replacement. So.
Councilor Knack.
Again, the cost of the sidewalks is a little pricey for me. What's the 50,000 for the Moose renovation for that?
Okay, before we get to most on the sidewalk itself, because it's broken into two parts.
It is?
Yes.
It is?
Madam Mayor. You see that? You see that?
53rd Avenue?
Yes.
So which one is 53rd Avenue sidewalk?
Is that
The big cost for the sidewalks was that they would have to be constructed within the ditch right away. So then we would have to build storm sewers to carry the water away. And then with the storm sewer, you need the base to have it set on, the fill material to go over top of it, and then construct the sidewalks on top of it. So I think the major costs alone were some of the material, but the big thing was the fill material to haul it in and fill the ditches in and make sure everything graded the right way back to the creeks and the proper way, so.
Councilor Tanaka and then Nassik.
Regarding the sidewalks, in that area, who uses that, like who uses that to walk on? Like people going to UFA, people going to Home Hardware, people going
To
like,
college, people exercising every lunch, going up and down for their power walks, not one or two, but several, like every day you see it.
I mean,
Does it warrant $500,000? I'm not sure.
well, that's a thing. I mean, there's other areas. I'm looking at that thinking if it's such an issue with the pedestrians and the possibility of accidents as opposed to spending $515,000 on a sidewalk, can we just make it non-pedestrian road and they have to go find something somewhere else to walk? I don't know.
But again, this is just moving it to the interim capital budget, and we can certainly hash that out and
Okay.
move it if we choose. Councilor Nassik.
Okay, a few comments. I think number one, on page 45, it says 43rd Street, and I think that should be 42nd Street. And my feelings are similar, that we should see that done too, because there are lots of people that walk it. I'm one of them, and I walk to the college, but there are, you know, when you have a college there and a lot of students, and given years, the number of students that walk it change, So it does vary year by year, but there is always people walking. It is a common exercise route for people that, like you say, go running and stuff. And it does break down the costs. It's $308,000 to go from the UFA down to the Allen's Welding, and then another $200,000 from UFA up to the Green Acres and stuff. So that's my thoughts on it. But I also think there's an addition error on page 45 for the backup power. When I add those numbers up, it's 258,000, not 293. $258,600. But my third comment is just I'd like to find out why that generator is so expensive. I know with Heart River Housing, we just did a power for a lot of the seniors lodges, and they were coming in for a generator to run the whole lodge if power goes out, and a house to support it, and the electrical connections to connect everything up was coming in at about $110,000 a unit, and this is it's just about triple that amount. So I'm just looking for comments from someone on why it's so high.
These are the cost estimates we got from our engineers, so.
I think he heard me.
I would say that we really need to watch the tendering of that, because, I mean, we can have it there as a placeholder, but I would suspect it's gonna come in lower than that based on what Heart River Housing's came in on. Mind you, I mean, Heart River Housing might have got a little bit of a better deal because they had 3 of them that they were putting in at 3 different lodges, so maybe some bulk purchase discount, but it wasn't going to be that much.
Councilor Mack.
So we have a motion on the table right now to move this to the 2015 capital budget, correct?
You want your Moosters, what's going to be part of the Moosters?
If,
Yeah,
I'm
Brian,
just curious.
Yes, the Moosters building, what are we going to do there?
That was to do both entrance ways on the east side of the building. The stairways, painting, take the carpet out, put tile in. It was the main hallway upstairs to redo that. Both bathrooms upstairs, both bathrooms downstairs. So it was all common areas that were to be redone.
What are you doing to the east side door?
East side door.
Isn't that what you said? The east
No,
door?
the entranceways.
Pardon me?
Driveways.
They were just fixing up the entranceways, like putting tile in there instead of the carpet.
Oh, I see, okay.
And on the stairwells themselves.
Mayor Cox.
I just have one more comment about the sidewalks. When you say that the college is, a lot of students are going there, we could put sidewalks in and then find out that the college is moving, or to a different site and building, or if they decide to build on 5412 in that green area there, which I think is where they own land, they'll be ripping up all our sidewalks and replacing them, so I'm not really sure if we're gaining anything by going ahead at this time until we find out, well, what are the future plans on that?
And that might be something that we can find out from them for the budget deliberations as well. Until we find out anything, but.
Not that fast.
But if I can, just, I think there's enough traffic even without the students there. That's my opinion, is that it's a dangerous place to walk.
I've seen the cars and the trucks go in the ditch too.
Yeah, it's a very narrow road for 2 vehicles and any pedestrian traffic.
Then we should be putting up our signs that say, watch for pedestrians, that we have sitting somewhere, but I haven't seen them for, I don't know how long. I mean, why not put 2 signs, one at each end? And they could stay there all winter.
Oh, you're on the floor. All those in favor? Carried.
So this means that the not necessarily these are gonna be,
No.
No,
That's
let me
right.
make it very clear so that we're all on the same page, that this is going to be part of a budget that we bring to you December 10th, right? And then after that, once it's approved, we go to the final budget approval on it next year, and then we tender, the tender will come back to you.
well, what happens in the December 10th meeting if 2 of these are scratched?
Oh, that's fine. We just put budget. And then you can amend the interim budget and say, we're going to approve this without this and that.
Or
But this gets different
should we
permission.
have some, 2 more projects to slide in place?
So we're going to, we're hearing your thoughts, right? And you're taking our 50th Avenue. So we have to meet with the MD, right? And then try to figure out how we can maximize on the $1 million. We have to go back to the 10-year capital plan and see what's out there. Take it back, negotiate with passion. Let's work, slot it back, and bring you a budget, interim capital budget. That you like, you approve, you don't like, you can amend it. But at least something that moves us forward. Make sense?
Okay. We are now at 5A7, Financial Statements, month ended October 31st, 2014, page 47. Your wonderful package.
Make a motion that council receive the financial statements for the month ending October 31st, 2014 for information.
Discussions. Going once. Councilor Vanessa.
I just don't get it. We're talking about budgets all day, yeah. I'd just like to say again that I'm happy to see that we're within our budgets and everything is going well, so kudos to administration.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussions on this and everybody's done their homework, let's call that question, shall we? All those in favor? Carried. And now we are on the agenda item, the administration 5B. Mayor Cox.
I make a motion that the council honorarium item be received for information.
Okay. Discussion.
I just wanna say that I had brought this RFD forward regarding the idea of having a flat rate and reducing the, committee, meetings. I thought that would be one way to save money, but, by this calculation, it looks like we really won't be saving much of anything.
Mayor Cox?
My only comment on this is that when we did salary review for the staff, there was a study done. It was, other towns were polled. We had a lot of background information with the rates of other municipalities. I know the last time that honorariums were discussed 5-6 years ago, that was provided for those discussions, and that's how the rates were set. So to set a rate without any idea of where are we with this, I think, I don't know how anybody can do it. So that's why I moved it for information. If we wanted to investigate this further, I think that we should be polling some of the other towns, the 30 other communities that are in our cohort, and finding out what is their honorarium.
Councilor Interim.
Hey, just to clarify, our actual year-to-date budget for council is $114,531.99. Our budget year to date is $115,358.36. Thank you to Councillor Long for not claiming that extra 1,000 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But it does appear we're on budget with what was presented. When we tally, everything involved. There's some above, some below, but some go to more meetings, some are on more committees. Some of us don't want to be on any committees. So it all evens out. And when we look at the big picture, we're on budget, whether that's a high budget or low budget, it's what was budgeted.
I know I mentioned before that, we've been as a council sort of, we feel bad for going over budget, and other people have mentioned that we've gone over budget and that we're doing bad things because of that. And I don't necessarily agree with that train of thought, because I don't see anybody going and doing things that they're not supposed to be. And maybe it's happening that I don't know of, but we're going to our meetings, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and if we're over, then maybe the budget needs to be adjusted slightly so it doesn't look like we're always over. We're just doing what's expected of us as elected officials. We're going to the committees that's expected of us. And when we're looking at valuing, I think there's a value to what do we bring to this town. And I did a really quick little internet search on our rates compared to other rates, and we look at the monthly stipend, we're at the very low end. And I just compared towns that are of similar populations, and we're at the low end. We're in the sort of the middle, or maybe the top third in terms of meeting rates, but the honorarium, we're at the very bottom of the group. So I don't think we're looking at too much. We're providing a value, and if we want to in future get good people stepping up to run for our town council, I don't think we should be selling them short in the future. We may not get good people if we're not at least paying what others are paying. I'm not saying being in the top, by no means, but I don't think we should be dead bottom either.
And I believe that one way that we can show that we're serious about curbing our costs, there's no reason why we can't have liaisons for some committees that we're sitting on now. And if we're really required to be there, if there's something that they desperately want their council liaison person to sit at that meeting for, that would be one way to do it. Otherwise, feed us the information, provide us with the information that we need, but do we actually need to attend those meetings? How can we, as a council, be proactive and pare down our costs rather than raising our allowance to cover the costs that we're incurring right now? I'm not sure that I agree with that position, as you know, but do we need to have all of these committees? Do we need to attend all of these committees, or can we actually be a liaison person and attend when requested? That's just my position. Keli.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may be helpful, I don't think the costs are coming from the committee meetings that you are attending. I don't think that's where the costs are coming from. I think you've been a new council. I think you are beginning to get efficiency in the way you're running the meetings. I think most of the costs are coming from the regular council meetings that we go over 4 hours, and we have to charge 200. And I think some of the costs will come from the special meetings that we have, because we cannot fit everything within the regular council meetings. So my advice would be, and just like resolutions and policies and bylaws, budgets are meant to be followed. The public will always look at you. It's either you're raising the budget and being within the budget, but as soon as you start going above the budget, the question is why? And so I think going into 2015, given the experience that you've got as a council, and I can see that, I think your meetings will be managed more effectively. that you can go into 2015 with the same, receiving this for information, and then see how it goes along. If it's still a problem, you have options as council, either to adjust the budget, make a new policy. You have things at your disposal, but when you say you're going to do something, as the budget is, or a policy is, or a bylaw is, then part of the accountability process is that you try to live up to it. Otherwise, then the public is saying, you know what, they're talking about accountability, transparency, where are those? I mean, that's just kind of fun. So, coming this year, I think we're going to do much better. That's Rose.
The one comment, and I know that Don and I had spoke about how to make this more efficient, and if there was some ways to make it more efficient, is that we're struggling with the 4-hour mark on our meetings, and the idea of having one meeting fee, and it didn't matter the time frame, didn't matter if it was a 6-hour meeting or a 4-hour meeting or a 3.5-hour meeting, that may help some of that cost, as well as it may allow us to continue and finish a meeting. Sometimes we're rushed to finish a meeting that we may only need another 20 minutes to finish, and we're not voting to stay for that 20 minutes because of the costs involved in that, right? So that was one thing that I would like us to maybe continue to consider. And how long ago was this before? Like, when I read the council honorarium policy, it says 2006. So is that the last time that there was any?
The budget has been in place since I came, the same budget, the same amount.
So there's been no changes to the policy since 2006, like the rates were set in 2006, and that's where they
The
sat?
rates, I don't know when, but I worked with the numbers 2011 budget, 2012, 2013. So I don't know when they were actually set.
That's
I think I would agree if, there's a problem with worrying about closing up because of going over 4 hours. When I did that quick internet search of what others were getting paid, some of the other towns would incorporate in their monthly fee that included any council meetings regardless of how long, right? And their meeting fees were tied into other meetings. So you could do something like that and eliminate any issues with timing around council meetings. But again, I also agree that if we're gonna make changes, we should sit down and do a proper review to look at what's reasonable, what's fair, and look at all of those options, and then make an informed decision.
I think Councillor Danak is to be commended on this. It's certainly opened up some discussion now, and I think with further investigation, comparisons, some analysis of what other communities are doing, will allow us to come back to this and maybe look at it again, or revamp what we have. But it's certainly a good start. I would like to see those comparisons. I think that's important that we do that. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Could you please read back the question?
Moved by Mayor Cox that council receive the council honorarium report for information.
All those in favor? Carried. And High Prairie School Division offer to sell, page 57, 5B2. Councilor Dunn.
I move that council approve the purchase of High Prairie School Division 50% interest in the commercial office property at the price of $376,750.00 plus GST if applicable, and to direct the mayor and the CAO to execute the sale agreement and schedule a release and indemnity.
Discussion.
So, Mr. Chair, just to make this very quick, the offer has been signed by the High Prairie School Division with their stamp, and I've also spoken to our lawyers, and so the process will be very simple. Sometime in April, we may have to cut a check to our lawyers or trust, and so there'll be some lawyer stuff to be done at the end of by April somewhere. The key thing that I talked to the lawyers about was the issue of the indemnity, right? Because it has to do with hazardous material, or soil, or the blah. And it's very, very clear that we share the same building, we're not coming from a different place. The risks are already there, it's nothing new. So I wanted to make sure that that was covered. And from the lawyer's perspective, Brownlee, Sean Curran, everything is ready to go. This was prepared by the Prairie School Division's lawyers, and our lawyers have taken a look at it, and they are comfortable that we can go ahead and execute this agreement.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mayor Cox.
I don't see where they're going to be ready April 15 or April 2015. I thought that they were looking for fall of 2015. No?
No, they're early. They're thinking they might be ready by March. Originally, we were thinking July, or they were, sorry, but they're ahead of schedule quite a bit.
So April is
Yeah,
a possibility.
quite a possibility. It's in there though that they can move out whenever.
Exactly. Section 4.
Except we have to give them the money.
Yeah, when they move out.
No, he's saying forward it to the
Oh.
lawyers on 2015, April.
But the lawyers will hold it until the actual date of sale.
Yeah.
So they'll alter it.
If it's 2 months, are we getting any rent for 2 months or?
No, but we're still buying it at a discount too. Don't forget, it should be 417 change. So we are saving $30,000 or $40,000. So a month or two rent, I'm good. That's good rent.
What if it goes longer?
Well, then we'll enter into negotiations, I'm sure.
Is there no one else that cares?
We're entering in good faith.
Any other further questions, discussions, anything new?
It is vague.
Yeah. Good.
So our lawyers prepared the agreement?
No, their lawyers prepared the agreement. I forwarded to our lawyers, and I had a chat with Sean Curran yesterday, and he went through that. He was comfortable with it. Yes, Sean Curran, our lawyer.
Did he give us anything in writing saying, yeah, I like this, or it's okay, or any comments? Nothing in writing?
No,
Okay.
but I spoke to him, and he said it's okay. There are two issues that were raised. One was if we're going to borrow the money, then we have to advertise this. We're not going to borrow the money. We're going to pay directly from here. The other issue that was raised was the issue of hazardous material, which we all agree that we already live in this building, and if there was any risk, that risk is already here. So those were the two issues, and you can hold me to it, that I spoke to Sean Curran yesterday, November 25th, and those were the two things that were said, and it's being recorded.
So what is the risk about the fuel migrating across from the Esso lot? We get reports on that on a regular basis. We're accepting the risk for remediation.
Is that a risk to us, or is that a litigation that would then be proceeded against ESSO?
That fuel is migrating, they're testing, in fact, they're testing on this soil now.
Well, I'm saying, so when it hits us, do we not then enter into litigation with ESSO? What's that gonna do with the school division? We own this building, they don't. We already own all of it. They, however, have a caveat on it. We're removing the caveat.
Is that true?
Yes, and he makes a good point. The lawyer said the building is, we have title on it, the town of Prairie has. He's right. So there's no real issue as to the fact that anybody else is going to buy the building behind us. We have the title on it.
Then why is this an offer to sell? Why is it, if we own the title, why isn't it a removal of caveat?
Cause they have a registered caveat
Yes.
for the average of 2 appraisals. And then the actual average is 417,000, and then when one party chooses to sell, the other party has to purchase. Or has the right of first refusal.
Why is it an offer to sell and not a removal of caveat? Wouldn't it be a removal
Yeah.
of caveat?
It should
Really,
be.
we have the title.
Yes.
It should
But I
be.
mean, you have to be, you're buying their interest in it, right? So it is an offer to sell or an offer to purchase, because all you're purchasing is their interest, and basically they're releasing their caveat.
So you put it through our lawyers, right?
It's not very
Yes,
often.
it's Sean Curran.
Well, does he know that we have the title?
Hopefully
dis-
you researched
we
it.
discussed it. We did talk about title, and he knows we have the title.
See, it's not very typical to buy something that you're not purchasing a title, whether it's condominium or
Yeah.
whatever, usually you'd be buying a title, right? So this isn't a very typical
Yeah.
arrangement at all, but I'm not real comfortable with that clause number 4.
Okay, why don't we do this, okay, because we are not in a rush to sign this. And then, I can get him to provide you with a written, something written, right? If you have any questions, let me know, I can forward that to him, and then bring it back to you at a later date, if that works for you. Because we're not in a rush to
Yeah.
sign this, so if you're comfortable, and then you can, sign it when you are comfortable.
Well, I think you have till December 17th.
But that's just again,
But clause number 4 states, a close of possession date shall be on or before April 1st or such other date as both parties can mutually agree. So if they can move out July 1st, it's July 1st. If they move out January 1st, it's January 1st. We both agree the price is guaranteed. There is no rent. They own it until that point. And we're getting it at a $40,000 discount.
The closing date's April 1st.
But it's a closing date that can be moved.
That's right.
That's all the contract's stating, so they tell us, oh my God, it rained for 3 months, we're 3 months behind, now it'll be July 1st.
Yeah.
Or they tell us everything went chicky-de-boo and now it's February 1st. Then it's February
it
1st.
does put us in a situation though, if we're trying to lease it out, or we're trying to make arrangements with anybody else. Where
Mhm.
we're telling them they can get out whenever they want, they can drag it for 6 months, they can, you know, like, there's, so if we wanted to enter into a contract, there's no end date, and there's no way out of the contract for us if they decide to drag the situation out for 8 months, and, you know, I mean, it's unlikely, it's just I've never really seen a contract that wouldn't give an alternative date or an alternative option if they hadn't, like, at this point, they could stay there forever.
Which
They don't
is
get
there
it.
right now, they own it.
Exactly, so I mean, it's like I say, it's a really odd situation, so.
Oh, totally.
The only place that it would have a problem would be one on financing, which we're not doing, right? Because we have to have the financing in place and we'd be paying interest on it. And the other one would be on if we are trying to arrange a lease and we're trying to get ahead of the game and try to put somebody in there, we could have somebody set up to go in for June thinking, okay, they're gonna be out for April, but then they're really not out till September, and then we've entered into a contract to put somebody in lease that we can be sued for.
Well, we probably shouldn't enter into any agreements until we've
It's not
renovated
easy
the other
to
place
get
ready.
right there.
Right, but then we have a half of a building that we're under pressure to do something with cost-wise, right? So, I mean, those are just the devil's advocate kind of thing on, without having an alternative date on number 4.
I mean, Councillor, but we haven't given them any money, so they can.
Yeah,
You're going to give them money on April 30th, it says
No,
right there.
or on the date that is mutually agreed upon.
And if they don't agree on it,
Mutually agreed upon.
April 1st, right? Not 30th.
But it doesn't matter what the date is, it's whenever it's mutually agreed. And we are getting a $42,000 discount.
Exactly.
which could be, like, again, what if they decide, what if the building is condemned over there?
Then they'll never move out and we'll never buy it. And everything stays status quo. So what's the issue?
Well, for one thing, again, I don't know why it's an offer to sell when it's a removal of the key. That would be my issue. I'm thinking that, I think we need a little bit more protection than this, in the sense that
So, in the third paragraph, it states the seller hereby offers to sell to the buyer its 50% interest. And that's the caveat, is the interest. So they are selling their interest. Call the question.
Seeing no further information, questions? All those in favor, oh, can we have it right back, please?
Moved by Councilor Danaka that council approve the purchase of the High Prairie School Division 50% interest in the commercial office property at the price of $376,750 plus GST if applicable, and direct the mayor and the CAO to execute the sale agreement and Schedule A, release and indemnity.
All those in favor? Oh,
If I may, instead of sale agreement, can we say offer to sell agreement so that it corresponds with what we have here?
I'm sorry?
If we can call it the offer to sell agreement, to execute the offer to sell agreement, so
So
that
the motion matches the
Yes.
actual document.
document, if you don't mind, so.
Absolutely. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And on we go to 5B3, which is the donation for the High Prairie District Food Bank on page 66. Councilor Tamaklo.
I move that council approve the amount of $3,003.60 to be donated by the town of High Prairie to the High Prairie District Food Bank as funds paid by David Zabolotnik as per the 2014 agricultural amended lease agreement.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Carried.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I make a motion to, have council direct administration to prepare a presentation check for use by mayor and council for presentation check, amounts to various charitable organizations in our town. And the presentation check should be bigger. 4x3.
Oh, so you're requesting a big check that could be used for photo opportunities for media, and we can just change the names or whatever on it each time.
Yeah.
You know, little sticky barcode things or whatever, or a whiteboard check.
It's a
you know,
Or
whiteboard
we
check.
could, yeah.
Just a whiteboard check.
Or you can scroll out or print out the name nicely.
Science back
Stick it
there,
on.
and put the new one on and take the old one off for us.
Investigate the cost, whatever.
Any further discussion?
It's investigating the cost or to get one?
Get one.
I think
What's
we
the
have
cost,
one.
like $100?
We have.
You have one? They have one.
We have.
No, we don't. Well, we never use it.
It's like buried in the back in our closet. I just found it when I pulled out
That's
Christmas presents, or Christmas decorations.
Sweet. There we go. We just saved $100. Moving on.
Yeah, as long as it's usable.
Okay. Well, bring it out in the next meeting. We'll look at it and
If not, then we'll
do you withdraw your motion?
Withdraw it.
But
Well, why we never
realistically,
use it?
cost-wise, we got two done for our Century 21, and they were under $100, so even though they're expensive.
Perfect.
Okay, so we've done that one. You vote on that? Yes. Oh, okay. 5B4, staff Christmas appreciation policy, page 84. Pretty straightforward. You can take this one on. Mayor Cox.
The council approved the staff Christmas appreciation policy number 69-2014.
Any discussions, questions? Pretty straightforward. I agree with it. All those in favor? Moving right along. Here we go.
I do have a question on that. What does it mean as part of the staff Christmas appreciation? What else do you do?
They have one day off for flex day or whatever it is. And then there's a dinner. Right, the party. Oh, no, that's social fun.
That's their social
Social
fund.
stuff.
Well, they get a turkey, right?
We have
Trigger,
turkey.
but there's, might be other things. What those other
What
things
is
are.
it?
There's nothing concrete. We do social parties, the social club get together, but that's more than staff's expense. Or when you send a card council, say thank you, CEO, that'll be nice. I mean, you know what I'm saying, it's just general. I mean,
Okay.
it could be anything else.
5B5, CAO vacation page 86.
Make a motion that council approve the CAO's request for vacation in the year 2014 for the following days: November 28th, December 1st, 5th, 8th, 12th. Why so odd? 4 days.
I'm trying to take the 18 days,
Yeah.
so that I don't
So you're
get.
clearing it out?
Yeah, I'll be left
Okay.
for 3 days, but that's okay.
And from December 15th to the 31st.
Discussion? Seeing none, call the question, all those in favor? There you go, carried. And now we are into Protective Services, 5D Community Peace Officer Contract Service Agreement. Mayor Cox.
That council authorized the mayor or designate and the CAO, I guess it's the mayor and deputy, or deputy mayor, and the CAO to sign the community peace officer contract services agreement between the town of High Prairie, Valera, McLennan, and Donald.
Questions, discussions? Mayor Cox.
I'd like to know why the service agreement talks about section 4.2. All parties agree, and then on the second line it's an agree amount, but there's a typo there, of $31 per hour for a peace officer, and then I see breakdown of costs and it says wage at $32. Is that a different wage?
So we should increase that. Good
And
catch.
when I look at fuel, I think I wrote over it, but I think it said $1.20 a liter and 50 liters. I don't know if $1.20 times 50 is 120.
Well, 2 days though, so 50 liters per trip, I think is what they're saying, or per day. 60. Right, so $60 per day, 2 days, $120.
Oh, I see, so that's times the 2 days?
Yes.
And when I see vehicle depreciation at $30 an hour, what, is that in relation to the $53 per hour for the patrol? Or is that in addition to that?
Actually, our calculation is the cost of fuel, which is $60. If you depreciate that $60 per each trip, so we should be looking at 240 times 2, so we should be around 480 depreciation plus the fuel.
So is that $53 an hour?
53.
So we're charging out the vehicle at
Yes,
$53.
$3 an hour. Yeah. Yes.
Why wouldn't we put in then $53 an hour rather than vehicle depreciation?
No, that's our breakdown, so we know what our cost is.
Yeah.
So it's costing us $1,112 for this service, and we're charging them $1,344. So we make $200. Supposedly, on paper.
So I thought we were charging $1,411.
Oh, but we've increased it 5%. So last year was $1,344, increased 5%. Now it'll be $1,411.20.
And is that reflected in the agreement? Because when I look at page 4 or 6 of the agreement, it's still got the $31 an hour.
Yeah, it's not showing up in the agreement.
No, it should be $1,411.
Yeah, section 4.2 needs to be updated. The dollar per hour isn't correct in there either.
That was an oops there.
So I think this has to be sent back.
Or we can make the changes and then just,
And then
as amended,
As amended, yeah.
if those are the only changes.
Well, then my other question is, if you mind, Mr. Chair,
yes.
this contract was supposed to go to deliberations, budget deliberations 2015. I think there was a motion.
No,
Yes, but looking at the logistical reasons, the agreement ends December 31st. And we're going to go into budget deliberations into January, we set a purpose. So I thought that would be wise enough to bring it here. If council wants to sign to get it moving forward, then it has to be before December 31st, rather than moving into the new year. And I got calls from, I got a call from, I think, Fidel, from the CAO, trying to find out whether there's an interest to sign this or not. So we need to make some decisions on their end as well.
So do we want to take the time to go through this?
Are those the only two changes or corrections that you noticed, anybody?
Well, if I may, I think, Mayor Cox, you're saying that you have concerns about signing this more than just those two changes.
Well,
Is that-
I think that the reason it was being sent to budget deliberations is to decide whether or not we wanted to continue with this agreement. If, in the sense that I know that the Mayor of Falher and the Mayor of McLennan have approached me and said that they really, really like this service. Very, very impressed with the responses of the peace officers, and that their bylaws have been enforced and they have less dogs, and as Constable Bloom said the last time, you know, that they are making a difference in those communities. Yeah, they're making a difference. How much are we subsidizing this difference, even though you say that it's that the cost is only $1,112. $31 an hour for a peace officer. Our peace officers are getting more than $31 an hour.
Yeah.
So, and you put your benefits in there. I mean, okay, let's subsidize them, but are we prepared to subsidize these communities, or are we not? And bear in mind that 3 years ago or 2 years ago, when this agreement first came out, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 3 years ago.
3 years. So this would be the 4th year or the 3rd year?
Third.
This would be the 4th year.
I think it's the 3rd year.
3rd year, okay. When they approached this council and asked how much it would be, they had also approached the RCMP, I think it was the RCMP, and it was astronomical what the RCMP wanted to do that 2 days. I mean, we are so low, they jumped at us. Again, we do have a reservoir of goodwill built up, but how much are we prepared to pay for this goodwill? So that's my only concern, and I think that was what we were talking about, sending it to budget deliberations to have that conversation as to how much goodwill do we want to incur on the backs of our ratepayers. And if you could ask the constable, Morocco, how much was the RCMP quote? I thought it was 60,000.
I think that's low. I think it was closer to 70, probably like 67,000, something like that, I remember.
So that gives you an idea of where they valued theirs. And bear in mind, theirs was a cost recovery more so. I mean, they were probably much more cost recovery. But
So your question boils down to, is this cost recovery or not? That's one of the basic questions, because at $32 an hour, is that including the benefits in there? Do we know that?
Mr. Chair? Yeah, this issue has been on for a little while, and the question I posed to the protective services folks was that, does this make sense? And the answer that came back to me was that they actually put it in their 40 hours for the town. So this is over and above. And so if there is a goodwill and some amount of money being made, the town is not being shortchanged. Because in my mind, I have to really answer the question, by being there, are we shortchanging the town? And that question has been asked several times. And I keep getting the reassurance that the town is getting what it should get from them, and that this is just a little over and above in terms of goodwill and a little profit. So that's what we are getting. And it's up to the politicians to take the information and then work with it.
Okay, if I can ask a question, and if they're working 40 hours for us and then going there, would that not be overtime for them?
It's more in the management position, right? The senior peace officers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're on a salary versus
Yes.
on wages then?
Yes.
So they're not getting any overtime?
No.
Okay.
I saw it. Go ahead.
Well, I don't like the idea of subsidizing other municipalities at the expense of our taxpayers. It's not a huge amount, but it doesn't matter. When it comes down to it, every little grant and every little subsidy we do is cutting us and helping somebody else. I also, I don't want to enter into the discussion in scope and out of scope designations on constables. I'd be surprised at what has occurred, but I would be looking at a definite increase, because at $32 an hour, we're not covering costs for employee salary. You bring in benefits, you bring in everything else, and benefits of the town are quite nice.
Yeah.
And I would also say that there's 3 municipalities here that are sharing this. If they brought in their other 2 municipalities, their other 2, they would have 5 municipalities. They could hire a full-time bylaw officer for those 5 municipalities. It would probably cost them $20,000 a year.
For a full-time bylaw officer,
20,000, that'd be 100,000.
20,000 each.
Yes.
Okay. But right now, we're only charging 16,000 divided by 3.
Well, that's because it's only 2 days, and if they had a full-time one, but this would probably move them towards getting
0.4.
1 bylaw officer for all their 5 municipalities.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we wish to have this document sent back, revamped, and then brought back to us? Or do we want to pass the motion and make the changes here now? Councilor Nassik?
I see the question is all around the dollars and cents on what we're charging them, and I'm hearing a couple of things just so that we're clear. Now, and I guess that's the big decision, whether we want to increase the rates or not. When we're talking about a wage, what I've heard is that we're not actually paying the wage because it's extra hours that the constables are putting in on their own time, because they're already committing 40 hours. This is donated time, so it's not costing our taxpayers money. That's what I get out of that. But at the same time, we should be charging, I mean, we want to keep the goodwill, but we want to charge a reasonable rate for our services and our time. And I don't know if we're really keeping it fairly low. And after 4 years, maybe if they like it, they should be getting their own, or we could increase our rates a little bit more. We got a 5% increase. What's a reasonable increase?
Mayor Cox.
If our employees are donating their time, I would be surprised, number 1. And number 2, that's illegal. And you have put us into a position of possibly using the town vehicle on private time, doing things that shouldn't be done on their own time. Like, I don't understand how you can say that they're donating their time, or it's well, they're not really, they're kind of, I don't understand this. And besides, the labor standards basically say, unless, you can't expect people to work for nothing. 40 hours a week, and then go out there and spend another 2 days a week? This doesn't make any sense.
Why don't we ask Constance?
There is maybe a very small amount of donation of time, but that 8 hours a day, it's not donated time.
Yeah.
We're putting in, we're working, we're getting paid for the amount that we put in.
So if that's the case, then we definitely need to be showing we're covering our true costs and not subsidizing it for sure. Like, it should be wage plus benefits plus a little bit on there.
So let's vote on this, put it to rest, and then we'll make a motion if we need to direct. So we have a motion on the floor, and we don't need to have it read back because it's right in front of us. All those in favor? Those opposed? Do we have somebody who wishes to make a motion? To direct.
I'll make a motion to direct administration to determine the actual costs of this and bring it back to the next meeting. If that is the next meeting too soon? You got lots on the plate, or?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Damn, that's fine. We need the.
I'm here to get a job done, so. Is it my time?
And could you please read back the questions?
Moved by Councillor Panasic that Council direct administration to determine the actual cost of the Community Peace Officer Contract Service Agreement and bring it to the December 10th regular meeting of Council.
All those in favor? Opposed? None unanimous. On we go. And Public Works. Oh, yep. 5E. Public Works, page 94. Mr. Martinson, you're up.
I just wanna let council know that according to the mayor, I was working illegally this morning when I was cleaning the parking lot out here. I'm donating my time. And the moose, and the moose too
With town equipment?
with town equipment.
Wow. You realize if you had hurt yourself, what would happen?
I'm still covered because I'm
Yeah, it's just.
He
See,
is out of school.
I'm a management employee paid.
So he is 24/7.
Any questions on the report? Just to let council know that we had a water line break this afternoon, about noon, on the avenue just over here by the church. Private contractor was digging in the services, the Lorm Brothers, or Dan DeLorme, for that vacant lot where the new modular is gonna go. And he pulled the corp stop, which is the water line run into the house, pulled it right out of the main. So according to the water plant, we lost I think it was 90 liters a second.
We build that back?
I believe we will talk to Vern about it. We got the flows and that, and when it happened and how much water we lost and that. Well, we will be building some back because we had our vac truck over there and employees to shut valves down in a hurry.
He has insurance for that.
I was thinking.
So when you say we build some back, we're building it all back, aren't we?
Some of the employees' time, because some of it we have to be there for the inspection, so like the tie-ins and that, so,
Oh, so we're already charging for that,
yeah.
some.
No, we're just, that's part of our service, is that we're there to view the tie-ins, to make sure that they are doing the connections to the water and the sewer lines the right way, according to town standards, so that's part of our
I
policy.
thought that was part of the,
It's not a charge of that portion.
it's not a charge?
No. If they have to sign a work order, safe work order permit first, and they have to give us 24 hours notice that they're gonna be doing it on that day, and they did that, so.
Mayor Cox.
When do we turn over the airport to the MD?
I heard it was January 1st,
Oh,
and we've been,
We haven't signed it this
no, but that's kinda what we booked the, airport on-call schedule up to January 1st, and if it has to be extended, we'll just keep going until it's signed.
Councilor Nacker?
I just, have a question. Is there a schedule for snow plowing? Streets?
As, what do you mean, we have policy on snowplow. What we do is we do our streets first, coming north-south. So anybody on an avenue, the farthest they have to go either way is a half a block to get a clean street to get out. And the first one is the major routes that we have to go, bus routes, emergency services, RCMP. The airport is one of the first on-calls that we go out first. And then after we get done the streets, then we start doing the avenues.
The reason I was asking, that somebody had contacted me and said they got a 72-hour notice, but they never were told that they were gonna be plowed.
No, we've had a few residents today that were up in arms about us plowing, and cause when we were plowing, the grader can go so fast ahead of the backhoe and the bobcat and the loader and that that's why I tell him to go to pick a spot so he's not sitting idle, cause if he gets too far ahead, what he's doing is plowing people in, and people have to get up in and out of the driveways, so I tell him don't go too far ahead. If you get far enough ahead, go do something where you don't need a loader or an operator following you, like do the arena parking lot, do Railway Avenue where everything's plowed to the side. Swimming pool parking lot, we did that. There's some areas that we haul that he can go and plow, or you don't need the operators to follow him and the loaders and that, so.
When we do the parking lots of the pool and the arena and that, do we bill the rec board?
We have a very minimal fee of $5,000 that we invoice the rec department for them. That was a basically agreement when the pool was built that we would maintain that one, and that was still under the same cost of $5,000 because it is our facility, and I guess it should be amended. That's another thing that could have been looked at in the mutual agreement with the MD.
Could have brought it up.
And Councilor Panassi.
I'm always amazed at all of the things that you guys get done in each month. You're usually fairly busy. When
I
you
was on holidays for 2 weeks.
Perfect.
Well, that's why so much was done.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I was just noticing, I had a question about garbage pickup this week. I noticed they didn't pick up the garbage.
They had a hydraulic line break on Monday afternoon, and they had our area to pick up. It would have been 47th Street. They missed a couple blocks. They said they would be back tomorrow to pick them up.
Oh, okay. Because I noticed, and then I did go on our website to see if there was anything, and I didn't see anything on there.
I let the office staff, the utility operator, and the town office, Corey, know, and the rest of the staff know.
So somebody
if there's
phoned
any
in.
calls, yeah.
It just would have been, a little notice or something like, that was the only thing, but it's, Those guys have been over the years amazing. They never miss.
They're
I
switching
was
drivers,
shocked.
they're switching drivers again. They switched drivers about 3 weeks ago, just before I went on holidays. And the guy is missing areas
Oh, is that
and needs
right?
to be educated again, so.
Oh, but you know what, over the years, they seem to do a wonderful job, and they're always there at different times, but you know it's that date, and they're always there.
It's their contract, even if that garbage pickup day falls on a holiday, that's in their contract to pick, so.
Yeah, they do a great job. I was surprised not to see it picked up for a day.
Mayor Cox.
The, dog holding pens, have we got lots of dogs in those pens for very long?
Not usually, in the woods usually comes and picks them up once a week.
How many pens have we got?
We've got 3 pens.
And are they separated, those dogs, or are they?
Yeah, no, they're separated.
So
They
3
can't-
dogs a time? And what happens if we get one extra?
Usually what we will do is, the MD guys will put like 1 or 2, 3 in a pen if they're coming from the same pack or
Yeah,
group of dogs, so.
so you will double up if you
Yeah,
have to?
and we do have the big pens in there, like the portable ones that we can put dogs in. The smaller ones, we put them in there, hold them there. If we do get overrun.
Are they heated, those pens?
They are.
Any other questions?
Midnight tonight, snow clearing will be starting downtown. We're gonna clean in front of the town office here from the first set of lights. It's maybe up to the liquor store down here, just so that when we do have the light up Friday night, hopefully we don't get too much snow tonight and tomorrow, that no kids are tripping over the berms that Curly and that pushed up and that, so.
So you just let the town office know when that's happening as far as the snow removal? Cause it seems to be that people are complaining a little bit just about not knowing when the snow's gonna be removed, because they would like to be able to move vehicles out of the way if they knew that.
It's like my employees know if we had that water date today, how are we gonna know we had a water
Right, so
break?
there's no-
So you can't, if I was there, I wouldn't be here, I'd be
It'd be this week.
in a higher
is what
authority.
you can say.
Right.
Councilmember Tanaka, Mayor Cox.
Okay,
Nope.
just a quick question. When you say, you're gonna do snow removal tonight at midnight, do you do a modified work week? Like, do you change the guys' shifts so that they can go
They
home,
just,
sleep?
they'll just work their 8 hours and they're done. I schedule it so we will have a grader operator in tomorrow morning, and I'll probably follow him in the Bobcat, help him out, and put one of the guys from the utilities department to finish the avenues.
Okay.
We still have a few avenues over in this area to clean yet, so.
Councilman Tanaka.
I just have a question, and I don't know how to address this, but the road that goes by the tennis court there, with the snow, there's kids that toboggan down that hill, right at the tennis court there. They toboggan down the hill and they just stop just before they hit the road, before they come sliding through and onto the road and to the old age apartments. I don't know how to handle that.
Put a fence up.
Drive slow.
That's my thought, but, cause, it's been close a couple of times when I've come around that corner and it's dark and kids go whoosh and it's just like, oh,
And then again, we can't put a fence on property we don't own.
true.
I guess we could post it and have the constables patrol it, I guess. If they see them there, kick them off.
We've already talked to quite a few of the kids, we've done this for years, but with children, right, sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other, and they don't care until something happens. We've suggested they go on the far side towards the apartment complex.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as exciting.
Yeah, well,
It's
There's no
exciting
traffic.
as you
It's
go
a
to
work
the
in
traffic.
progress. Every time we see him go down the slope there, we go and talk to him, advise him of the dangers, and hope they listen.
Here the kids are using the skateboard park as a toboggan.
Yeah,
Ouch.
Could we not just plow a berm of snow up on that
That would
side
be that, so
and
they
then
can
they
shoot
just
up.
stop?
Yeah,
Because
they'll just-
there's not
they'll
enough
just
speed to
launch.
go up it though.
They'll
That's,
just launch.
that hill coming down the tennis courts won't give them enough speed to get over.
We may be able to
Lines
do
with
something
those
like that, you
little
know?
crazy carpet
If we
things.
push a berm there and then cut it with our snow blower, so that they hit a wall, maybe that would be
Something
something.
like that. Cause you can't cut that much snow.
Yeah.
I did have one comment from, one of the contractor, not a contractor, a contractor, snow removal, whatever. And he was asking why the, town uses a gravel bucket on that big loader instead of a snow bucket. Because if you used a snow bucket, it would be much bigger and it would load faster, rather than
It's
using
the
a
only
little
bucket
dirt
we were
bucket.
provided with at the time. That loader is big enough with the bucket that's on there now. It does enough damage. I've worked out planters and
Well,
myself.
wouldn't it be, when you're doing your center things, wouldn't it be faster to load
We use a snow blower.
with a snow bucket?
We use a snow blower to load stuff. We don't,
Cause I've seen that loader with a little bucket and man, he doesn't do anything, he just kind of
the Bobcat or the loader?
the loader. I mean, he's, I don't know,
It's a 2.5 yard bucket, so.
yeah, it's for gravel and dirt. Anyways, I just passed on the comment that it was, inefficient use of.
Well, we'll put it in our wish list for council to purchase a snow.
I'd be Linda.
A snow bucket, you
Snow
might
bucket.
get more efficiency there.
Alright.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Carried.
Huh?
Motion was to receive.
Who moved it?
I'm sure I did.
You did?
I saw Brian do it earlier. Our chair called him up with all
I got
that
this
information.
far. Darn it. I have to do so. And next one is on the agenda is the staff and CAO written reports. Our esteemed CAO Keli Tamaklo, you're up.
Aye. Chair?
O, E, F. Thank you, 5FI. Which is Community Services International Day of the Disabled Persons, EFG. May I have a motion, please? Somebody, Donna, Councilor Grande.
I make a motion that council proclaim Wednesday, December 3rd, 2014, International Day of Disabled Persons and advertises proclamation on the digital sign.
Discussion? Mayor Cox.
Alberta Human Services, but who in Alberta Human Services, where's the back?
Government, Alberta has an initiative.
It was an email that just sent, we would like a proclamation, and they gave us the background and discussion, and that was it. She wasn't from this area either. She was calling from Edmonton or something like that.
It's the United Nations. Been done forever.
I don't actually know.
Maybe not us,
If
but-
it had been, Marigold or some local organization, I would agree with this, but we could get these constantly, International Hot Dog Day.
This is about a day for disabled persons, though, and recognizing their significance in our society. It's a good thing.
I'm not sure, again, I'm sorry, but International Day for Disabled Persons, is that so it's the United Nations, they're
General Assembly.
Canadian, do we have an International Day for Canadian? The Red Cross, or is there another international day that is more recognized than this one? And that's all I'm saying is that, and the request on the internet doesn't really impress me very much. So that's just my comment.
Point taken. Any further discussion? I see Councillor Enter checking the hockey score or checking the International Day? No?
I was gonna look up the December 3rd one. No, I'm not.
So you're good? All right.
I've just checked the United Nations International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's passed. And now we go to 5G1. And CAO Keli Tamaklo.
I make a motion that council receive the CAO Keli Tamaklo written and verbal report and action list for information.
You have the
Chair,
floor,
thank
sir.
you. Yeah, very quickly, Municipal Planning Commission and Councillor Donica was there. We started the process, and I've outlined the way it will go, so that's good. The workshop, we had about 12 people, assessment 101 workshop, and mainly that. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome Kelly Park. We advertised for 2 positions, and she's coming on as the development clerk assistant, and we don't have anybody yet for this type of position, so she's kind of cross-training, and I'm just wondering how she's going to cope. I mean, she's so young, but I mean, we've tried all we can, and she's brought her name forward, and I mean, kudos to you, and so far she's doing what she can, and we can only appreciate her efforts so far. Thank you so much. And the next one is to thank, I think Herbie's gone, but today is his birthday, and just to thank him for his conscience in the way he goes about his business, and I do really appreciate that. So, happy birthday, Herb, if you're somewhere.
Any questions? Councillor Empton.
On page 98, I believe the March-June 2014 should be 2015. And then on page, everybody okay with that? Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Page 101, I think for the second time now, motion 45514 is on the report twice.
455.
It's the top and the second from the bottom.
Oh. 455. Okay. Remove that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Mayor Cox.
Was the Municipal Planning Commission, was that an open meeting?
Yes.
How many people attended that?
I don't
No.
think anybody did,
No,
except
no,
the.
no one, except for the MD, I think, forget the guy's name, one person, and then the guy, I mean, us,
And then the planning commission.
the planning commission.
And Richard. Richard.
Richard,
How many, came from planning, from, Mackenzie, right?
yes, Phil.
How many?
Phil, one.
One. And he went through the process?
Yes.
Councillor Rose.
Are we waiting, or what are we waiting for in regards to the lines at the campgrounds? And what we're gonna do with it? Like, are we waiting, I see it's on budget deliberation.
Yes.
Are we exploring anything else? The reason why I'm curious is that I'm looking at right now the opportunity that go back to the hospitals in major construction mode, and they've got lots of fill. And maybe we could deal with the ravine part of that, like if we had made the decision that we're gonna take that land back and we're gonna sell land, we're gonna use it, we're gonna make it, that would make it more usable, cause whoever's going to buy it, or if we're gonna use it, unless we're using it for the intended purposes of the campground, we may be better to have the, to have it filled. And right now there's that big pile that's sitting there that maybe we could work something out with the hospital. Maybe.
I'll just, and then I'll maybe let Brian speak to that, but our intention was to get, do a little bit more investigation and bring it to the budget deliberations in terms of what it costs to maintain it, and what are the options, and that's the intent to bring it to budget
As a
deliberations.
campground?
campground, Brian, what, currently we're just operating it.
We're just looking at different options. So
Yes.
we looked at moving the sewer dumping station from here, if we're gonna keep it ourselves. Move it out there, put services in there this summer, but it's something we'll have to get some costs and bring back to the council for. I know it hasn't been as busy since the Elks have started theirs, but they have all the services out at the Elks grounds. And they don't have all the services there, there's no sewer there, so.
The old Elks, I guess is what we'll call it,
Yeah.
the one on the east end of town. It's used a lot during the day. People go there, just sit, relax, whatever. I've gone out there for lunches, just to get out of the office and to get away from things and just sit there and, chat with somebody or whatever else. It's a very pretty park. Is the hospital building a lagoon or a pond or something?
Storm retention
Okay,
pond,
okay.
just to the north of it.
Just north of it, yeah. Because of what I thought was, if it could stay as a park, it'd be nice for the elder residents or whoever's gonna be in the hospital to walk over, grab a Tim's with their family or whatever, and then go across to the park. But I don't know what's going on with the Tim's either, right? It would be nice when you go to visit somebody, my mom or whoever goes in long-term care or whatever, you grab and go for a walk. But I wouldn't really offer much for services though. It's just a day park then. That's what I was thinking.
Any further questions? Mayor Cox.
What's happening with the sea cleaning plant? Motion.
So,
446/14.
so we've been back and forth, and we have confirmed December 4th, 10 o'clock in the town office to meet with them. So we just got to send an email to them and get a confirmation for that date. But we've been back and forth trying to. And December 4th, 10 o'clock will work for us. So we send them an email, so hoping to get them soon.
Seeing nothing else, I will call the question. Motion to accept CA's report. All those in favor? Carried. Which brings us to notice of upcoming meetings, special meeting, council and calendar physicians.
Whistleblower.
Oh, the
What
whistleblower
about 6
discussion.
I?
Yes, which is 6-1. Grand Prairie Whistleblower Protection Policy. And Councillor.
I'd like to make a motion that council direct administration to edit the Grande Prairie Whistleblower Protection Policy and bring it back to council on December 10th as a policy for the town of High Prairie.
Any questions, discussion? Pretty straightforward. Mayor Cox.
I'm wondering why it says on page 106 that the Lac-La-Biche attaches the Lac-La-Biche County whistleblowing standard operating procedures, and yet isn't this one City of Grande?
Yeah.
I think the background was picked up to an edited, but we had brought in the Lac-La-Biche County Whistleblowing Standard Operating Procedure before, so this was an edited.
So it is the Grand Prairie one we're looking
Yes,
at.
it's the Grand Prairie one.
And they just adopted those.
Just the question is, I know we talked about this before and I can't remember why we didn't go ahead with anything. Can anybody help me out with that?
Mayor Cox.
The discussion was centered around the fact that no other outfit had gotten, had
That's it.
We were avoiding the
That's
cost. But that
Where
is-
would somebody else develop it and then it's
we
borrowed.
We borrowed, and they have finally done it, and it doesn't look too bad.
Any further discussion? Call the question? All those in favor? Carried. And last but not least, the special notice of meetings coming up with in camera with the physicians on page 110 of your package. Councillor Enter again.
Make a motion that council approve the December 9th and 10th, 2014 special meeting of council regarding in-camera with physicians.
Any discussion? Our CEO?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions as to why it's in camera. I understand why it's in camera because of the background I have from Dr. Warren, but a couple of people were feeling that this is an issue that should be a public issue in terms of the different perspectives. And so just what I'm hearing out there, but it's not consensus.
I concur. I don't see where this is a personnel. It's not part of our staff. It's not legal. It's an information gathering, and I think that it should be open for anybody who wants to listen to the information. Unless we have some questions that we think are confidential, but I don't know what they would be.
Councillor Enter first. Brian Panasik second. He had his hand up second.
Yeah, that's
Carry
fine. So I'd like to know who actually requested it be in camera, or how it got to be in camera.
Yeah.
If it came from the physicians, maybe because they are willing to disclose financial information on how their operation runs versus how the Alberta Health Services will be subsidized by the taxpayer. Overhead costs. There could be financial. I don't know who requested it, and I'm trying to.
The motion was made by Councillor Panasik to invite Dr. Warren, and so we extended that invite to Dr. Loughlin and Dr. Edwards in fairness. So that's how it all came about.
But
The
why-
initial motion was,
Why would Dr. Worry be in camera though?
but that's what council adopted.
Really?
Yes.
Where's
Yeah.
the motion?
We follow council's motion. Yep.
I
The
don't see it, but
resolutions
that's
are-
okay, I
yeah.
believe you.
Yeah, council's resolution was very clear that, but after second thought and hearing people talk, it was like, why should it be an income?
What motion number?
I don't know, but we can easily amend. Let's just move forward. I'd like to amend my motion to remove in camera, the special meeting of council with physicians. I accept it.
That was my question also, was this the physicians did not wanna come unless it was in camera? Was that a concern of theirs? I don't know, I just.
You made it, you.
I made the motion,
Yeah.
I don't remember why I said in camera, so.
You moved it.
Okay.
You moved it.
Yeah, it's there.
The physicians are fine at coming if it's not in camera?
I mean, we won't invent the resolutions, guys. We would never do that.
Are they fine with coming if it's not in
Yeah,
camera?
Number
yeah.
104 at the very top.
104?
Yep.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
personal.
CIO's report? It doesn't matter.
In camera.
Let's move.
As long as they're
Did
not
not-
expecting it to be in camera now.
Yeah.
Was the
But they can ask
invitation-
though. They can ask during the meeting, can we go on camera?
Yes.
Well, except for if we have a bunch of people here.
Well, then maybe we have a public discussion and then go on camera.
Yeah. 9th and 10th.
So, no further questions, call the question, all those in favor? Thank you, carried. Down to Mayor and Council reports. Starting with Mayor Cox, you're up.
Very short report. I move my report for information.
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? And going down the line, starting with you, Councillor Enter.
I move my report for information. have nothing to report at this
I was
time.
just gonna say,
I have nothing to report at this time. I have no meetings between the 12th and 26th. I'm happy.
Councillor Finacial.
You have, a copy of my written report there. It was,
Yep.
I got it in just a bit late. And the other thing, I just sent out today, information on the CN meeting that I attended on Monday. So that's in the email, and if you have any questions, you can email me on that. And
Can you, just summarize?
the really short bit of that is CN basically said, you know what, there's a problem with our line, we've had 6 derailments, we need to do something about it. So they're gonna be putting in about $55 million in the next 2 years into improving the line.
Yeah, there, now see,
From where to
squeaky
where?
wheel does get the grease.
What's that?
From where
From
to
West Lock to Peace River, that stretch of line is what they were talking about. That's new rail, new track, new gravel. And the last thing for me is, just notification, I won't be here on December 10th. I move my report for information.
Well, not a question, but a comment in regards to the CN Rail. I was reading an article earlier today. Canada Safety Board is pressuring the government, actually for watercraft, rail, and something else, saying that obviously the safety's not in. There's not enough safety regulations. Something needs to be done right away, and the government needs to stop driving in this speed.
Good. All right. So, moved his report. All those in favor? Carried. And Councillor Nacken.
Just a quick verbal report, had the Municipal Planning Commission meeting. The fellow from Mackenzie went through, you saw the timeline that they're giving us in Kelly's report. I'm my verbal report for information.
Any questions? None? All those in favor? Done. Councillor Rose.
No report, I've had no meetings.
That was easy. And I just have verbal.
You still have to receive it.
We're good. Attended Warren Powers, again, there's about a dozen people there. He did not address the issue of the appeals form very well at all. Frustrated some people there. Was fairly aggressive, I thought. Fairly rude, I thought. I let him know that. And I think the people overall they got and were able to glean some things, but Andy from KFC was not impressed. He was Andy from KFC.
Oh, KFC, okay, yeah.
And so there were some frustrated people there. But overall, it was the same stuff we've had over the past, so it wasn't anything new for me, but certainly I wish he had explained the appeals process better, and he didn't. And the form, and how the form is used, and maybe have an example of how to use the form that these people have. None of that was offered. So hopefully, if he gets another chance, we can do that. Also had Teresa Saville call. She runs a concession at the arena, and was surprised, appalled, really upset to find out that Grimshaw, Valley View, Fairview, Slave Lake, they're around $700 a month for rent on their concessions with hockey teams and whatnot. Her rent just went up, I think $174 a month. Maybe it's reversed, maybe it's $147, but it went up. She has purchased a new stove for the kitchen because the old stove had to use pliers to turn on the knobs, $2,500, and a new freezer has not yet been reimbursed from the rec board. And her rent is now $2,300 a month. Now, we have done 1,000 different things where we're always asking, where are the comparisons? What do the other towns pay? What do the other councillors get? On and on and on. Where did the the rec board do their work? They dropped the ball on the summer programming, got 0 participants. Now we have someone who is dedicated and loves doing the job and is saying, I cannot afford it, and they've cost me $8,000 compared to other communities our size. I don't know what you guys did, but not fair to her by the sounds of it. She's losing money hand over fist, and clearly there was not analysis done on what our communities of our size doing. So my question is to anybody on the rec board who'd like to reply to that.
Well, I would hope that immediately when you received this, you redirected the person to the rec director to find out what the information is or anything like that.
I had
to
asked
get
her
facts.
yes.
This is the first I've heard of any of it, and I just saw her on Monday night.
Who does the contracts?
The rec department.
The rec department.
Yeah, same as Kelly does the contracts. You know, like that is something that they do. It's part of our budget, I'm sure. I can go through it and look at it, but I don't micromanage, even though somebody says that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I have no interest in doing that. I have no time for that. So it is something, though. I thank you for bringing it forward. I'll go look into it. I know that we just spent $4,000 or $8,000 redoing all the exhaust fans and everything in there for her kitchen. I didn't know she bought a stove. I'm quite surprised at that because we own the building. We own the stove. Why would she buy a stove?
Or
If that, I don't understand. They come to us and say, I need a new stove.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we have money put aside.
Yeah.
And if she hasn't been reimbursed, that's such an odd position, right? Because if I come to you and say, well, you know, I ran something from you and I just went and spent $50,000 improving it, so now you owe me $50,000.
Yeah. And I'm not sure who
Like
she spoke to before. Like
I have no background information, right?
So
So,
through discussion with whomever's at the rec.
but I just saw her Monday night, like at her and Bobby. Like, why didn't they talk to me?
Yeah.
So, maybe they don't know I'm on the board, so I'll chat with them.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I grew up
And
with Bobby.
that's my verbal report. So, motion to receive my verbal report. Great. Thank you. All in favor?
And meeting's adjourned.
And we are